Lori, can you hear? No, there's Josh.
They're both mute when they leave themselves.
Yes, I'm here.
Good. Josh, you good to go? I see you modeling.
Josh is having an issue.
He's still muted.
Yeah, he's still muted going to the screen.
I don't think he knows how to operate it.
Oh, looks like you figured it out.
Can you hear me now?
Sure. Are you guys ready to go?
Yes.
All right, I will call this meeting to order at 6:33. If you can, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands yes, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Thank you. Yeah. We'll start with the two Zoom callers. Roll call.
We'll start with the what?
The two Zoom callers. I figured that way when nobody was talking or anybody. Roll call
Lori
first.
Houston present.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Let us know you're here. Roll call. There.
Lori Houston present.
Josh Hawkins present.
Ken Stokes present.
Carol Lee present.
Jason Leibowitz present.
Sharon Spears present. Katie Duncan present.
I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the January 8th, 2026 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the January 2026 meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, new business. PZ 26-001-ZA House of Grace. The Planning Commission considered the approval of a zoning amendment from CF Community Facility to DT Downtown Mixed Use. The subject property contains approximately 0.43 acres and is located at 42 South High Street on the northwest corner of South High and West Jefferson Street, the old Methodist Church building. The petitioner is the House of Grace Recovery Homes, and the property owner is the Community Fellowship Incorporated. At this time, I will open a public meeting. Prior to us getting started, because of the massive amount of you that are here, we will limit comments to 3 to 5 minutes per person. I would appreciate you letting us know who you are, where you live, then proceed with your 3 to 5 minutes. In addition to that, I kind of know this is a hot button topic. The one thing that I ask everybody to do when they're up here speaking, and everybody out there not speaking, is to have respect for one another. It's common, decent, human respect. Everybody speak. Everybody speak at their time, and if you want to speak, there's no size requirements for that podium. Everybody fits it there. So with that, I don't know why I was Deb first to summarize the vision.
For those of you who weren't here for the BZA hearing, my name is Deborah Luzier and I act as the planning administrator for the town. I prepared a staff report for this petition as presented. Site history, the site houses the old Jamestown United Methodist Church, which closed its doors in 2023. The House of Grace Recovery Home is a faith-based recovery sober living home for women who struggle with drugs and or alcohol. They give women a safe place to live and help women to learn a new way of living, learning, and new behaviors and habits while building their faith. The old sanctuary on the eastern side of the building would remain zoned to commercial facilities and be used as a community center for rental for meetings, dinners, weddings, community events, etc. The back part of the structure is what is being requested to be rezoned to downtown mixed use in order to accommodate the secure living quarters. The basement of the back building is proposed to have a coffee shop where residents may work until they find outside employment. Parking is proposed along the street and possibly on the north side of the building as shown in their concept plan submitted to the file. Zoning and surrounding context. The site is surrounded on the north, east, and west sides by the downtown mixed-use zoning district, which they are requesting. And then medium-density residential is across the street to the south. Just for context, the current zoning is community facilities, which is a district to allow and identify publicly owned property owned by quasi-public or public service entities, and property used to plan to be used for certain institutional facilities. Usually the zoning covers things like schools, churches, post offices, government buildings, anything that's generally open to the public. The proposed downtown zoning district is to encourage a broad mix of uses in the urban pattern of development that currently exists downtown. Development in this area respects the historic context of downtown and strives to create a vibrant, pedestrian-friendly environment. With regard to the comprehensive plan, the future land use plan outlines this area to be public or semi-public in nature. The goals and objectives relative to this petition fall under quality of life. One of the goals is to actually develop a community center in town. Under the housing goal, strategies were to encourage quality, small-scale, multi-family residential development in the appropriate locations, and also encourage reinvestment in current housing neighborhoods. Under the economic development goals, one of them was to promote business growth in downtown Jamestown. And under the land use goals, direct commercial investment into the downtown district, direct housing to infill sites and locations with existing infrastructure, and lastly, encourage quality multifamily housing development. The staff report goes on to outline the development standards tables for the proposed district. With regard to the process, the zoning process is a legislative act. At this meeting, the Plan Commission could make a recommendation, either favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation to the town council, who would then make the final decision. Because this is a legislative act, the Plan Commission can require certain commitments or conditions be made part of their recommendation, and they would run with the land regardless of the landowner. The petitioner is responsible for obtaining all necessary permits for any improvements or alterations to the structure. The Plan Commission should maintain and enforce the Unified Development Ordinance and related ordinances in order to achieve the goals of the comprehensive plan. And per state statute, the Plan Commission and the Town Council should pay reasonable regard to the following 5 decision criteria when taking action on this request: the compatibility with the comprehensive plan, the current conditions and the character of the current structures and uses in the district, the most desirable use for which the land in each district is adapted, the conservation of property values throughout the jurisdictional area, and lastly, responsible development and growth. With that being said, staff finds that the request to rezone the property from community facilities to downtown mixed use meets the goals and strategies for quality of life, housing, economic development, and land use per the comprehensive plan and the future land use plan. Increasing allowable uses while repurposing an existing structure in the downtown area provides opportunity for revitalization, and the request to rezone complements the existing zoning as well as land uses of the properties abutting and adjacent to the subject property. Staff recommends that the Plan Commission give a favorable recommendation for the rezoning from community facilities to downtown for this site to the Town Council.
Would somebody from the House of Grace like to do their, just to remind everybody of say.
I'm Tammy Pitt. I'm the founder and director of the House of Grace. So the house,
And where do you live?
I'm sorry, I live in Point Town. So our vision for this property is to reduce some things, bring some things to this community. We are wanting to bring our sober living house that we have now in Thorntown, just the women, we're bringing them to this building and creating a new sober living space for them. We also want to turn that sanctuary into a community center where it could be used for the community, not just for ourselves, but because we are all about connecting with the community that we're in. And we would like to have a small coffee shop in that building as well. This gives us an opportunity for our ladies to have a place to work because they don't work for that first 3 months. So this gives them a place to work, to just build some skills and also to just learn how to have that job on a regular basis that we teach them. And so that's what we're trying to do here is just bring something to the community that is favorable, that is trying to help people. And we want to show the community that we want to be part of this town. We want to be part of everyone's lives around us. And we just want to do what we can to help our ladies as well as those around us. And we're not secluding ourselves, but we are going to be protective of what's going on, even in our property. And I don't know if I have another time to share at the end of this. If not, I'm going to share what I have.
Well, I mean, we're pretty with that. We're making time.
We're only at a minute and a half, so
Yeah.
we got.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. All right. So I'd like to share, to reassure everyone that's in this room of who doesn't know who we are. And we're not here to bring trouble to this town. That is for sure. We are different from any other sober living program. We don't detox. We're not a detox center. Anyone that we bring into our house is going to be already detoxed. There's clean time. They've had clean time where they've been. So we are not bringing them in still sick, still having to come off of things. That's not who we are. We are a 9-year successful program. We're a 1-year faith-based program who helps women who struggle with addiction, drugs and alcohol. We try to teach them a new way of living, being clean and sober, with Christ in the middle of that. We only house 4 ladies at a time because it gives us the opportunity to work with them one-on-one, and it's been more successful with us doing that. We teach them new behaviors and habits because if you don't change the mind and you don't change the heart, nothing changes. And so changing the thinking process of what we are doing in life will change your behaviors and habits. We teach them how to become good citizens. We want them to learn a new lifestyle. They don't get a job for that first 3 months, and we don't bring in violent offenders. We don't bring in sex offenders. We teach them how to give back to their community and how to serve the community. We do a lot of some community service because serving is what helps them heal as well. We show them how to learn to love others, which they all struggle with, and learn how to love themselves. They all struggle with. We show them how to love others no matter how people treat them, no matter what people say about them, because there's a stigma for anyone in addiction. It's called loving people like Jesus does. And the ladies that we bring in are all broken. They need help changing, and that's what we're about. Just like some people in this room, maybe some who may be using, who they drink, and they drink it all in secret. Maybe need help. But if your family has never been affected by drugs or alcohol, you're 1 in a million, because addiction is no respecter of persons. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how big a house you have, what kind of a job you have, or even what kind of a family you came from. But let me reassure you that we're not bringing drugs into this town. Because whether you believe it or not, there's already drugs in your town and probably neighbors around you that you just don't know about. We are here to give hope to people. And I ask that you don't judge us when you don't know us. And I say that you watch what we do, because we will show you that we are loving people. We want your town to love us. We want your town to be successful, and we want to be successful in everything that we do. We even have some of our ladies here that have graduated. We have our residents here. We have our staff here. We have other fellow friends and neighbors that are here with us to support us, because they have seen what has happened in our ministry and what we do, what does happen and takes place with these ladies, the changes that they make. We're here to bring people to you that love people and will help. We want to teach them how to be good citizens. So I just ask that you hear our story before you judge us, and just watch us help change this town.
Thanks. All right, at this point, it's say, you got something to say. There's a place to say. I'm sorry.
I got ready to pay them.
Come on up. Hey, you gotta raise your hand, just gotta make your way up. Okay. Then you gotta line up, that's fine too.
There's one that
Maybe. You would stick your names and breathe, please.
My name's Kevin Wilson. I live north of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I'm pastor of Corinth Church in Brownsburg, north of Brownsburg. And I've been in the position for the past 10 years. And I want to say before everybody tonight that I've known the founder of House of Grace, Tammy Tidd, for a number of years. In fact, our church has been so impressed with House of Grace and the good that it does for women that we support it as one of our home missions organizations. House of Grace has done much good wherever it locates. I believe this ministry will definitely be a positive addition to the town of Jamestown for people struggling with life's issues, and also those looking for a good and positive charity to work with. I'm very confident if you check references where House of Grace is and has been present, you will get only positive comments. I'm excited to see the good use of the old Methodist church building that this ministry will bring, rather than see this fine piece of property set empty and abandoned. So in closing, I highly recommend the town give Tammy and House of Grace a chance to demonstrate what I've stated to be true about this wonderful organization here in Jamestown. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Would state your name.
Randy Fenwick, 29 South Line Street, right across from the Methodist Church.
Lori, Josh, can you give me one of your thumbs up if you can hear him good?
Yeah, we can hear him.
Yeah, a little bit further away from the mic. Want to make sure. Okay, go ahead.
I got some things I want to read. First, I want to tell everybody, my wife and I are Christian. I'm a rougher Christian than she is, but this ain't about a Christianity. This is about moving something into our neighborhood. I'm sure you do good with the House of Grace, but there's things that we need too, like reassurance on NARR. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And I'm blind, I can't see where's the lady at? Are you familiar with the NARR? I'm saying that right.
We're part of that.
Okay. Are you certified with, we need to find that out.
Yes.
Okay. It's gonna cause congestion. I have pictures of it right now. It's so bad that we have trouble fighting for parking right in front of our house. We can't hardly have friends over, family over because of the parking. That affects me, and I don't care what anybody says, that's gonna hurt my property if I go to sell that house. And that's just a matter of fact. And let's see. Bear with me, I'm on tax 70. Let's see. The zoning on it, a 2026 federal ruling in Indiana reaffirmed that recovery homes are considered residential, not commercial structures, shielding them from discriminatory reclassification and excessive safety requirements. Federal and state laws, Fair Housing Act, kept against restricted zoning that discriminates against individuals in recovery. Now certification, voluntary but required for funding. The Indiana Division of Mental Health and Addiction, DMHA, supports certification at levels 2, 3, and 5. Certification is required to receive state funding or for referrals from state programs. Do we have that?
I am aware. Deb, and that fall in anything you may know? John?
That's gonna be up to the operators to,
Do they get state funding? They may not need it if they don't,
Yeah.
if they don't actually need that, right?
I'd like to say something on most of this. The argument that's being made right now is better for the town council versus the planning commission. What's in front of us as a planning commission is if the property meets the zoning requirements that they are asking for. If it is no longer being used for a church, then the mixed use downtown is what it should be zoned. And that is what they're asking for. We don't get a right to deny a business just for a rezoning. That is up to the council on that end of it. So I don't want to sound mean or anything. I'm just putting that out there that we as a commission has to look at just the zoning portion of this, not what business is going in. We just, as long as the business meets that zoning requirement.
Correct,
So-
Jose. I agree, but doesn't the rezoning of the property across the street even affect your property?
No, I'm sorry. It's no longer a church. So if it's no longer a church, then it can't be a CF.
With like a public company go and then people on the commission.
A CF, what's a CF?
That is the,
Okay, put it on.
All right, ready?
Is he done?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so if we're talking about zoning, I'd like to know mysteriously, how did the $300,000 foundation get fixed all of a sudden? Because that's what I understood they moved out for, because they couldn't afford to fix the foundation. But now, I was told the other day that engineers looked at it and the church had just been told by one of their friends that the foundation was bad, but the engineers say it's good. I smell something fishy going on.
no. So what happened there is the engineering firm that originally came in was looking at the building as if it was in, I can't remember if it was 2023 versus the building that was built. It's no different than a home that was built over 100 years ago. There's a lot of things that was done in building back then that is grandfathered in. Same thing with that building. So there's a lot of building practices that in that building that was grandfathered in, and getting the right firm in there to actually understand that it's no different than having a home inspector come in and basically pick apart a house that's 100 years old because it does not meet 100% of today's standards, is all that basically boiled down to. We had a meeting over that over a year ago, I believe.
I don't understand how it can be grandfathered in, a new business can be grandfathered in. I think you're gonna have to explain that to me. I don't understand that.
Well, it's no different than a 100-year-old home being balloon built versus the way that the houses are built today. So
Let's find out. It's okay
So-
for them to come in and they're still grandfathered underneath it. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm saying the way the building was built, all the years ago that the building was built, makes it was the standards at the time that it was built. You cannot condemn a building on the way that it was built when it was built. Now, as going forward, when things are being done to it, it has to be brought up to code. Again, that is not for the planning commission to decide that. That is the building department.
But we'll save that for another meeting then.
Yep.
Basically.
That's your
Okay,
time.
thank you for your time.
Anybody else? Come on up. Sorry.
I'm Susie Rich. I'm representing the Tri-Area Library Board because we are located within 600 feet of the building. I'm not here to give you any comments as to my personal opinion. I'm here to let you know what the members of the board stated as far as their feeling on the. If I get my phone going. Several of us on the board cannot make a comment because we are tied to the Methodist Church, okay? However, the other members have stated that they're very thrilled with the idea that we can help women who want to start a new life in this town.
Thank you.
Switch yours back, moved in out there. That's simply nice. Do that.
Maybe not.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Westlake and I live in Thorntown. I actually operate as the House of Grace manager in Thorntown, so it is I that will be moving to Jamestown with the ladies. As Tammy indicated, we only take 4 ladies in the house at a time. We do have security, we do drug testing. Anybody that comes to us is already clean and sober and has been for usually at least a couple weeks, sometimes 30 days or even longer. And so I just want to let you know that I've been affected by alcohol from childhood on. And so, you know, like Tammy said, addiction, there are no boundaries. There are probably people, maybe even in this room, that drink more than they ought to, that truly are an addict, that have not sought the help. We are a different program. We will be 10 years old in February. We actually have 2 homes, one in Thorntown and one in Jamestown, getting ready to open another one in Lafayette. This ministry is far different than a detox. It's far different than just your average, like recovery home. We do put Christ at the center. These ladies come in broken and we do teach them a new way of life. We have a lot of classes that we do with these ladies. Like we said, many of these ladies are here. There are people, we're in Boone County. Thorntown is Boone County. We're simply moving the house to another location in Boone County. We have a landscape business that has offered one of our ladies a job. Another one works at Goodwill, another one at Beefaroo. So we do have strong support and have had for 9+ years in Boone County getting these ladies jobs. We are hopeful that we can even find them jobs here in the town. But I just want you to know, like, I live with these ladies 24/7. They will never be left alone. But I believe that if you give us a chance, you'll see that we'll be a blessing to this community and we will bring things that this community is lacking. So thank you for your careful consideration.
My name is Larry Dean. I've lived here since I was 5 years old. I have 17 East Main Street. It sounds to me like some of the things we had put together were wrong. We bring out from what Josh was saying. Couple of things I want to bring out. Number one, infrastructure wise, okay? I mean, number one, I wish these ladies nothing but the best, okay? And to put God in the center of anything, I mean, you can't do any better. However, Murphy's Law, what can go wrong or will go wrong, will go wrong. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we don't have 24/7 police protection, which I think should be required when you start bringing these type of things into the community. Even though I'm sure these ladies are all wonderful, I'm not saying they're not. There are other family members, there could be, you know, whatever. Secondly, I assume if this is going to be turned into a residence, then each apartment or whatever they call it's going to have its own bathroom. Going to have, but actually it's going to be a business, so are they going to have to rewire it with conduit and stuff like that? Does that come into play? I don't know. Josh will know more about that than I do. I just see a lot of issues with it. Some of it just being, I mean, we're getting ready to add 50% to the population of our community by this housing addition out here. I just don't know that we're prepared to bring some things in that are unknown, even though they do have some history in that, but it's not like we're wrong waiting for some of the other ideas that we want to talk about. We wasted time here tonight. I wish the ladies well, I was saying well, but I just don't think in residents of probably, well, greatly elderly people, numerous elderly people in the neighborhood, to bring something like this into the middle of that neighborhood, because it's not in the commercial area, it's behind the commercial area. And we talk about mixed use, downtown mixed use. Well, all of downtown is not mixed use. It used to be, but after the zoning changed, there's a particular block that they changed the zoning on differently than the rest of downtown. So, I mean, we can play all these games we want to, but at the end of the day, it's about the residents of the community and the safety of the residents. And I mean, Aaron told his tail off, but he's only one person. I think before we do anything like this, we need to have 24/7 police protection. We need to have 24/7 fire protection. For these ladies' lives, I mean, it's not just a single family dwelling. Something happens there at the church, fire or whatever, we're not going to be able to respond to it, right? I mean, that's been proven time and time in the last several years. So, got a lot more to say about it. We'll bring that to the town council if it goes to that, which I assume it will. And that's basically all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Susan Arabia. I live at 234 South First Street. I recently moved here about 3 or 4 years ago with my kids. I moved here because it was quiet. The kids could ride bikes. There was plenty of parking. At this point, if you change that zoning, those people can't park already. Can't hold a community event because we already can't hold Cinco de Mayo parking for the Mexican restaurant. My children ride their bikes through there because we're cornered by highways. They won't be able to do that if there are cars parked on there or you put commercial traffic on. That's also the corner of our bus stop. So the schools will then have to redirect their route for probably non-tax paying entities. And we need to consider all of this because I believe the one in Rensselaer, I think they just were granted funds from Jasper County this year for one of their houses. And it's just a minute of time before they come to us, to Boone County and other people. So I think we really need to consider who we're allowing on our kids to be around. Also, sorry, sure.
You're fine.
Also, when there's traffic congestion or an auction from an estate sale, they end up in my driveway because they don't know where they're at. So once it overflows on Jackson and High Street and downtown, it's going to come down our residential streets where we don't have safety sidewalks for people to be on, so the kids will be on their bikes. And they will end up on my personal property, which the last time that occurred, I had property damage from someone that was just driving through to turn around. So we need to consider the quality of life of the people that live in that area. And if anybody wants to show their hands who lives within 600 feet of this, right? And how many of you are opposed to this zoning? Right. And I'm sorry. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Leanne Marshall. I live in Lebanon at Sister Cherry Transitional House, and I'm a graduate from House of Grace. I graduated in 2023. I'm from born and raised in Frankfort. Yeah. I had been in trouble since I was like 14 years old due to being raped. Didn't know how to handle that. Jesus was not the hub in my upbringing. However, because of what Tid did, and starting this program, I was homeless, and she picked me up at my vehicle that I was living in, and the rest is history. I'll be sober in 4 years, December 17th, and I have 2 beautiful kids, that 22-year-old and a 24-year-old. My 22-year-old just got married, has her own place, works for NAMI, a crisis, counselor. And what we do at the house, what I've learned at the House of Grace is to give back. I gotta, sorry, my emotions. I have not met a woman, I volunteered. I still give back at the House of Grace. I help with the girls. They're just, a lot of them are mothers. We also, help churches, like the community, like Tammy said. I have not met anyone that would hurt anybody. There's never been any drugs in that house. It's just a safe place, and I just wanted to give reassurance, safer than the family I grew up in. That's my new family now. Amen. And I just wanted to let you guys all know that it's nothing that, the devil is a liar. And I just wanted to make sure the truth was out, I'm just so thankful for that place, and I'm forever indebted to be involved with that until, I can't get up out of my chair. So I just wanted to let you all know that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Vicki Rowe. I'm the house manager in Rensselaer for Grace Recovery Home.
Evening.
By the grace of God, I got 18 years sober. I know it can be scary to think that people are coming into your community that are gonna, ruffle feathers or whatever, but for people who were broken, who needed other people to give them a chance. And I thank God that I was given a chance. Because I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother of 9. We're not a threat to children. We're actually, a hope shot, to bring families back together that have been torn apart. Would it bring changes? Yes. But I think that it would benefit on both sides. Because a small community, a good community, can show women that haven't had that before what it really means to be a part of, come together, to stand side by side with their community. They just need a chance. Everybody deserves that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna be like a congressman. I want to reclaim my time for just a moment.
Got a couple.
Yeah. First off, the ladies involved in this, how many of you have lived your most of your life within 10, 15 miles of here?
You mean involved in it?
No, have lived here, are originally from this indigenous area. Okay. Okay. Just ask. From what Josh said, what these ladies were saying, I have compassion. Okay, but at the end of the day, what Josh said, this is not a meeting about that kind of stuff. This is a meeting for some basic, this is what your job is, okay? So, we can be up here and testify till the cows come. And that's okay with me. It's discussion. But we live in a world of potential and reality, okay? Potentially, they do great things, and they probably have. The reality is 60% of all crime in the United States and more is drug and alcohol related. Do we want to bring more of that? We have to. Do we want to bring more of that on something that's not really, I disagree with some things. This brings nothing to our community. It brings no tax base. It brings no jobs. Larry, it brings nothing. So, yes. Is my time up?
You're getting there.
Okay, I just wanted to state that. We can talk about that all we want. So,
Appreciate you.
yeah.
Hi, my name is Michelle Stanford. I am the owner of the Jamestown Pizza King.
and also the co-founder and owner of Live for Life, a not-for-profit organization. I opened a women's recovery transitional house in Lebanon 8 years ago, which I successfully ran. This is not about the residents at that location. From what I understand, this is about changing zoning. And I came across the same thing when I had to change the property in Lebanon from residential to multifamily in order to put multiple people in. So this isn't about the character of the people you're putting in, because actually you're not allowed to discriminate based off who they are, what they are, any handicap or anything else. If you're looking at the actual zoning change, currently, I believe it's a community facility, which means if the church wanted to, they could open it up and run something there every single night, and you guys are going to have parking problems, and they could do whatever they want that way because they own the building, and that's how it's zoned, okay? Now, my property is mixed use, which is the Jamestown Pizza King, which is just across the alley, and is there, I think there's several around there that are mixed use. I know that there's a couple of apartments right there on Main Street, because I could actually put an apartment at the back of my property if I had to go through all the planning, but I'm zoned to do so. So what these people are asking basically is to take the unknown of a community facility, which is sitting empty and doesn't help our community, by bringing people together and giving it a use that is better suited for maybe more people in the community. So they are asking basically to go from community facility to mixed use, which gives options. And in those options, then it's up to whoever is the final word in this as to, is housing permitted? Are apartments are permitted? How much would that be? Otherwise, I think Ben could have a party for the churches every week, and bring a bunch of kids in if they wanted to, or anybody, and they could do something there. Okay. So if it's about traffic, I think that we've already established that we have a growing community, and we want a growing community, I think, because I know I invested in a growing community, and that's why I exist here. But I also know that with that is going to come some challenges, and it is all for you guys to follow the letter of the law as to what is permitted by your town, and what is right for the community. I wanted to say just something about the fact that, because I ran into this in Lebanon, when you zoning, if I'm not mistaken, runs with the land, not with the owner. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So rezoning it doesn't mean that they would be the owners unless they decide to, you know what I'm saying? It could be, they're the ones requesting for the rezone because they want to be the owners of it.
Could you be more specific on that they are?
The House of Grace.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sorry. So when I got the approval to do the women's house in Lebanon, I knew that once I had that, if somebody sold it, that ran with the land. Not if I sold it, it wasn't going to change back to something else. So it does run with the land. So there's things like that for everybody to consider when making their decisions. But I really don't want to see the topic of recovery and addicts and people stereotyping people should not be done here in a place to rezone. That's all I have.
1 minute.
I'm done. Thank you.
Just a reminder, I want to reiterate what said repetitively. We're not here to make decisions or judge or any, we're zoning. Not saying you can't speak your mind. Want to reiterate, say whatever you want, 5 minutes as you have.
My name's Angela Miller. I'm also a graduate of the House of Grace. I just really wanted to touch base on the concerns of the elderly that live in the neighborhood and the children. I used to be a mom that wasn't allowed to see her children. I wasn't trusted with this, but God. Now I babysit for my pastors. I got custody of my kid back. Like, God gave me a godly love for all people. You know what that means? That means I love people unconditionally, no matter how they treat me, no matter how old, how young. Like, and I believe every one of these ladies will do the same in the neighborhood. And that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Heather Van. I came to Tammy back in 2017. I was reformed for whatever errand of her home. I have a felony meth possession in and out of jail from the age of 18 and up. And I was like, things like that. I come from a family with a background of a lot of drug addiction. They still are in drug addiction. I didn't have anywhere to go, didn't have anybody to turn to. I emailed the House of Grace and I said, I need help. And she said, send me your phone number. So I sent her my phone number. We met on a Sunday after church and she brought me in on a Tuesday. I stayed with her for 13 and a half months. I currently have 8.5 years clean. Next month, I have 9 years next month. And like I said, my family's in addiction. The thing is to change people. And, I know that you guys are concerned about people coming here that have that background and that history. But let me tell you what God has done and what the House of Grace has helped me do since then. I am now the founder and executive director of Brother and Sister Check Ministries that is out here in this community, and we have set out to empower God's people in Boone County. Okay, we have events out in this community once a year where we do free raffles and we empower people to help them get baptized. We go to the children's home and we tell the kids about how they can overcome things. This is a real thing we're facing in our society today. This is bigger than just AIDS zoning. Drug addiction is what we are facing. And I was lost in it. My family is still currently lost in it. There are many people that are lost in it. With that being said, Tammy had the House of Grace, and I knew I had a burden on my heart that there needed to be a longer program. We ran into this issue in Lebanon when I started the Sister Check Next Step Transition Home. I am the founder and the executive director. This is not just with her. This is going on into us. This is empowering us to continue to help the communities, to help people. We don't want to hurt your kids. We want to bring awareness. This is real. Yes. This is real and it's killing people. It's taking people's life, and your kids are subject to it too. I was a little girl one time, and I signed the DARE program paper. I signed it and I said I would never do drugs. I remember that in 5th grade. That I signed it and I said I would never do drugs. It needs to be aware that these kids need to know. We don't want to hurt your kids. We want to help them. We want to help them know that, hey, this is a real thing. This is a real problem. We don't want to tell them about it. We don't want to give them information that they don't need. I just want to say it doesn't stop with just the House of Grace. These girls will be watched. Trust me, they will be watched. We don't want drugs in this community. If we find out there's drugs around, we're going to be madder than you are. I'm telling you that right now. If I find out they're in trouble, I'm their big sister. So they're all in trouble. I just wanted to share my heart on that and let you guys know that we're here to help. We're not here to hurt. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Ron Endinger. I live at 38 South Lebanon Street. And I know this is a zoning meeting. All the women here, I commend you very much. The lady in the back, 4 years sober, congratulations to her. The only thing that I have, I want you to put my mind at ease. And I think they're legitimate questions. And it's like the one lady brought up, I have grandkids that come over. And the stereotype, the fear that people have, not you in particular, but it's a concern. And all I'm asking for is, I've got a list of questions to the board, to this lady right here. Put my mind at ease. Say, this is how we address You don't have to worry about it. But I think they're legitimate questions because the stereotype of this is going to be problems to the community. And, you know, we all have that in the back of our heads, you know, all the neighbors. And I've talked to just about every neighbor there. Lady who was concerned about bus, you know, kids getting on the bus there. I'm not worried about you women. I think it's fantastic what's going on. But I also want to make sure, and I don't know, and that's one of the questions that I have, is there people coming that's going to be visiting who's ever there that I may have to worry about? You know, so those are questions that I have. I think they're legitimate questions. You know, what comes along with this? And, you know, I can leave a copy of this if the board wants to look at it, call me on it. I don't care. I just want my mind put at ease. So I know that if you come to this community, I have nothing to worry about. It's not you. It's what baggage could possibly come along with it. And I think that's the fear of most of us. You know, I don't want to worry about my grandson playing outside. And I'm just going to say it like this. And some guy that's coming to see somebody has no business there is stopped at the side of my house. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? I want to know that's not going to happen. And if it is, then we need to improve our police force. 100% praise that man's sitting over there. But I don't want to have to worry about it. And that's a huge concern of mine, what baggage may come with it. And if you can put my mind at ease, I'll high five everyone I get. I'll even volunteer to come over and help. Right? But you've got to prove, not you, I just want to have it proven to me that I have nothing to worry about. And if you can do that for me, I'll do something for you. Fair enough?
Make sure. Sure, yeah, hold on.
I can get those answers. I appreciate it.
One second there. You need to get around. Very easy for us. So we keep on. I'll have to leave a copy over there, and if not, I'll leave my personal.
My name is Ellen Cox, and I live on the corner of Jefferson and Vine, and have lived there for the last 48 years. It seems to me that in this meeting, if you get up and want to talk about something a little more than the zoning, kind of been said, don't do that. This isn't the place.
It's not necessarily something that said don't do, but you're free to speak about it however you want. What we absorb is terms for the zoning part of it.
Well, it's like this. The House of Grace has got to get up and say everything they wanted about why they should be here. And the people who may have questions and stuff have kind of been told this isn't the time, this isn't the place. But let's talk about the zone.
Okay.
Jefferson Street and High Street, from my house on, are residential areas. And by rezoning and making that a place where you can have businesses, there's going to be a lot of traffic, is going to add traffic to that area. We have children on that street. I have a great grandson that comes to my house. I am concerned about the fact that they ride their bikes, they run out in the street. We have wheelchairs in those areas. I walk with the cane. I don't particularly think we need more traffic in those areas. And I do think that the people who live in the area should have some say about what goes in and what doesn't go in. Now, I have a whole list of questions concerning who's going in there. But I'm not bringing it up because I've been told that this is not the time or place. So I will respect that. But I'm concerned about the zoning irregardless of the House of Grace. Because of the fact that those are residential streets. And when the church was there, which it isn't, granted, but you had traffic at certain times. It wasn't a daily event.
So you're aware of the 210 South High.
Pardon?
So I'm kind of your neighbor, of the 210 South High, about your house is down. So
Well, then you know how many kids are on the street.
neighbors got 4 boys.
And you also know that some of those kids are very little. And while you tell them you can't run out in the street, you know, whatever, that doesn't mean that that doesn't always happen. And, you know, I want it to be residential. I've lived there for 48 years. You know, I don't want to see my grandchild, great-grandchild get hit in the street because there's a lot of traffic and there's no parking. So I do have an objection, not just the House of Grace. I have an objection to the rezone. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Benjamin Beeks, pastor of the Community Fellowship, which currently owns the former Jamestown United Methodist Church.
Oh, got a lot of questions for you.
Yes, please.
No, you go right ahead with your. We'll get to that.
Yes. So first of all, I'll offer this. For those who
May I answer some of them now?
I may. So I'll offer this for anybody in the room and anybody in the community. If you have questions, because there have obviously been some already asked this evening about the history of the church, how we've ended up in this place, what has happened to bring us here, I will absolutely make myself available for that conversation. I will give you my personal phone number on the way out. You are welcome to come talk to me. I will set up lunches, whatever you all need. And I think I speak for Tammy when I say that we would do the same if you have questions about the House of Grace and why this will not be a detriment to the community, but a blessing to it. And we will be more than happy to sit down and have those conversations. The one thing that I would remind the board, which has already come up a couple of times, just about the parking. This was a church for 150 years. And as recently as 25 years ago, it was a church of over 100 people. The parking, if it wasn't an issue 25 years ago, is not going to be an issue for a house that maintains 4 women in residence and 2 women who live alongside them. A personal note to each of you, the community fellowship exists to be a blessing to this community. Jamestown UMC was a blessing to this community for 150 years and has now passed away. And a new season of ministry has been born out of the death of that church. Our heart at the community fellowship is to do everything in our power to bless this community, to make Jamestown be the best that it can be, whether you believe in Jesus or not. And I would not be offering the sale of this building to the House of Grace if we did not believe that that would fulfill the mission of our congregation. Thank you.
Hey, now,
Evening.
my name is Tina Smith, and I live on Jefferson Street. So I think my question is, when I keep hearing about all the traffic, okay, what kind of traffic are we actually talking about? Because are the women that are there, are they allowed to drive? I'm just asking you a question.
No, we do all the transporting.
Okay, so we have 4 women that are gonna live there, but they will not have a vehicle. So we have 2 ladies that will be there 24/7, right? So we have those 2 vehicles. And then we're gonna have some sort of a van or something for the transport. Okay, so we're basically looking at about 3 to 4 cars on a normal given day and time. Is that correct? Okay, I think that would be acceptable. I think that's acceptable. And if we put a coffee shop in there, right? I think that would be something that would not be
Well, I don't want to tell you you're not gonna be 100% busy, 100% of the time, because if that's what God wants, then that's what God will do. Okay, that's my personal feeling. But what, so you're in Thorntown now, right? Why are you coming to Jamestown?
That's a story. That's a story I can share today because of time and what we're here to do, but I'd be willing to sit.
Okay, I just, you know, I'm a woman of faith, so, but God, right? So I think that the questions that are before you, I think it would behoove you very well, because actually I've been in Jamestown only 25 years now. So I don't have as much as some of you, but I have more than others. I found it to be a very welcoming community. I think it's a very loving community, but it's the same as any other community. Okay, we have drugs in our community. We have alcohol in this community already. We have churches in this community, right? And we have people who do not believe in God. No matter what we do, they're not going to believe in God. Okay, but that's not really the point. The point is, I think it would be a really good idea if the questions that were put before our council, okay, could be answered by the people who would directly affect that. Because you're right, there was a church there for a long time, and there was Wednesday meetings, and there was, my house got hit by a tornado. Okay, that church served me well with that Red Cross. Okay, that place has been amazing in a lot of different ways. I just think that for the moms, the dads, the grandpas, the great grandpas in here, okay, I think if we can just get those simple questions answered, and when we get the answers, if we have an open heart and an open mind, and we don't just come at it with our already no.
Right.
Okay. Then there's always good, a community can always help. And if we embrace someone who wants to make it better and we work with them, then I think Jamestown can be an even better place than I think it already is. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Good evening. My name is Kendrick Davis. I am part of the group that owns building at 11 East Main Street, the Giving Tree facility. I operate the two businesses that occupy that office space now. We also own the building on the corner, 45 East Main Street, the old Pistop building. So I'm very invested in the town we are, and its growth and its potential. I'm going to approach this more from the 5 key concepts that you guys have to by law follow as far as the plan commission goes for a rezone. Our building at the Giving Tree, I think, is the most recent CF that transitioned to the downtown mixed use.
Right?
Yes. We are very thankful for the town. Obviously, we're investing heavily in it. My concern comes from the parking standpoint. I worry about that for us because it's used quite frequent, which we're fine with, by the way. It's used quite frequent. We're filling it up more because of our office, the folks in our office, myself and others included. Most of the time at night it's full with everybody going to the Mexican restaurant, which it's pretty leave and they say see you tomorrow. So we frequent it quite often. I did not see it online. I looked for a PDF because I know that I heard on the summary there was a potential for a parking lot. Is that
the closest to the parking lot thing that I have personally, I can be corrected, is a drawing that is part of the package that we have of, which shows where the potential parking lot was.
Yeah, sorry. I just
Yeah.
That way it was. Right, okay, like a horizontal, perhaps, according to this, just if they want to do something. Okay, well, reserve, thank you. Okay, so it'd be a strip there in the alley, okay. Our only concerns come really from a liability standpoint of anybody, and I brought this up. Even when we asked to be switched over as far as what liability looks like, or, you know, we don't have a parking stop, as it gets hit by a snowplow. And somebody goes in the building. But I do think that's something, to kind of think about. I know around that whole block is, basically is already downtown mixed use. And so, I know it comes into a tough space because you have to look at the comp plan. Obviously, if it fits or not. The current conditions, characters of structures, I think is kind of a bigger issue from a purely rezoning standpoint. And so I would obviously want you guys to, you know, take that into consideration. Most desirable use, that's where we start to get into some subjective issues. Conservation of property values, you know, and the responsible development and growth. So just kind of rehashing those top 5. You know, I think it is important to continue to look at bringing good partners into the town and the community, but to ensure that we take this time to be able to look at the true zoning, the true capacity for areas as we're growing. Obviously, the more businesses that come in, the better that helps the rent rate, the better that helps the growth of the community. But as we are looking those things, the 5th one being responsible development and growth. How could we look at these as opportunities to take existing structures and maybe improve other things like parking? I don't know if there's any possibility where their kind of grass area is, if that's a potential to put, you know, some type of parking lot in of any sort. You know, that may help as far as that issue goes. But yeah, I'm kind of leaving this as my just a very objective zoning questions to maybe take into considerations, because now I think it's time that we can kind of start asking the planning commission kind of maybe ask for some commitments if possible, along the lines of parking. So when we start to hear some complaints about traffic, obviously there's not enough commercial there to warrant a traffic study. Right. But whatever we feel on that responsible side of the growth and development, maybe look at this as an opportunity to see if we can get some type of commitments, make things maybe contingent upon the ability to rectify some of those potential issues. So thank you.
Appreciate you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I live at 26 West Jefferson Street. We live right next to the church.
Got it.
I'm concerned about the zoning because the parking lot. He had a stroke and we originally had to put a driveway in our backyard. I'm worried about the parking. If they put a parking lot in there or the coffee shop comes in there, how's that going to affect me having to back in? Because I have to back in to set the van so the ramp can come out on our van to get in and out. I'm concerned about the property value, how it's going to bring it down. Just, we watch the kids go up and down the street. They're on their little bicycles, their mopeds and stuff. I am concerned about all the traffic it's going to bring. I believe in second chances. I wholeheartedly love the idea, but I'm more concerned about the zoning. How is that going to affect when they start doing all the construction? How's that building going to withstand the construction? How's our property going to withstand construction? Because those are not new houses. Those are old houses. I'm just more concerned about how it's going to affect our property overall. Like when we start doing this construction, if they have to do construction, is it going to make our house fall apart? I really think that we didn't have any issues with the church being there because every Sunday they had the parking. We got through all that. We shared the front of it, but now we park back. You know, that's not an issue. It's this paying the parking lot in or just making that whole area back there. That alley is not that big. They're gonna have to widen all that. How's that gonna affect the garage that we have? How's that gonna affect, like, Conference is right behind us. You got the restaurant there, you got the bank. How is that all going to affect? I would like to have a little bit more info. Like, out in the long run, zoning wise. I don't know if they've taken a lot of it in consideration. I don't know what else to say. I mean, this is all new to me. I just want to be more. I want more information on how this is going to affect our property, our livelihood, our children's lives. I mean, we watch the school bus. I mean, you know, it's a wonderful community. I moved in here several years ago when I met Jamie. I love this community and I believe in what you guys do. But I would like a little more reassurance on how it's going to affect my house. I don't want it falling apart. That's all.
What was your name?
Kimberly Dagenhart, James Birch. And
Thank you.
I've lived here about 14 years now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to address your question. You do know, my question would be, if it's rezoned, how will it affect the ramp that they're using so that husband can get into the house? Because the church allowed them to put the ramp on the church property. Part of that ramp right now is on the church property that they're in, but we allowed that. We said, sure, so that Jamie can weigh into the house. So if it's rezoned, will that affect it? Can they still have their ramp? How's that for a question?
Thank you. Anybody else?
Can I address?
Hi, Tina Pennington, the member of the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Redevelopment Commission. I also am a longtime resident of Jamestown. First thing I want to say with regards to the rezoning, regardless of whether the House of Grace goes in there or not, that property is probably going to have to be rezoned. The chances of another church going in there are slim to none. Many years ago, we had two very active churches within a block and a half of each other. If you want to talk about parking issues, it's been here for 50, 60, 80 years. So you find ways around it. Yes, the children, people just have to be more careful with the kids. You know they're there. I live right on 136. I see the same thing. But you can't deny somebody or the rezoning because of that. You can't really switch the zoning to of the church property to residential. What's the chance of a single family residence going in there? So to me, the downtown mixed use makes the most sense there. It abuts two other businesses and mixed use property. That's really all I have to say. But I did want to say also that the community fellowship has been trying to find other options. They had originally reached out to the Development Commission to see if we would want the property to put in a community center or something. Unfortunately, between it and the Redevelopment Commission, the Redevelopment Commission could not commit funds. We could buy the building, we could not provide funds for the upkeep. The town does not have the funds for the upkeep of that. So they've now found another use for it for the betterment of the town. So I just wanted everyone to be aware of that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's only fitting if there's as many people acting that you close it out, but I think that's what it says if you started it. Yeah, all right.
So I just want to address some of the questions, if that's possible. So, it's already been said, there's already been a lot of traffic with the church, with every other things in the town. Because there's another housing addition coming up that's bringing more traffic. What do? It's the same problem in Lebanon. So, we will only have 3 to 4 vehicles there on a daily basis, on a regular basis. There may be a couple more, 2 or 3 other cars that might show up if I have some kind of a meeting there, something to do with my staff and my ministry. That's not going to be an everyday thing. That'll be once in a while. And when we have our desire for the community center is to have events for the community. That's not going to be every day. That may be once a month, twice a month. We don't know until we get in there and really get our vision, our agenda together as to exactly what we want to do, when we want to do it. So it's really not changing anything as far as traffic. It's not changing anything as far as vehicles being there, except there'll be 3 or 4 there on a daily basis. In the parking space that's right there by the church that's allowed for us. We don't want to invade the neighbor's property at all. We are fine. I am fine with that ramp stand there because we want to help you. We want to help you because that's what we do. We want to help the neighbors. There will be kids there because our ladies have children and we allow them to have visits with their kids because our goal is to reunite the families. That's one of our main goals. And the people who come and visit and bring those children, our girls can only have visits with family and only family, not the friends, not the exes, only their family and only family who are clean and sober. They can't be in addiction. If they are, they can have phone calls, but they can't have those visits. So those visits, I am very cautious and very picky about who we are allowing to come in our property, who we allow our ladies to stay connected to. They can't call my bestie. She's been my bestie for 20 years. I'm sorry, I don't know that. I don't know anything about her. So there's a protection thing that we will always do. There will be security cameras around, inside and outside. Those doors will be locked. There will be one door that will be open that for anyone who might want to come and do a visit, to visit me, to do an interview, just to come and talk about the ministry, try to bring another lady in. That door will be open only at certain times. It's not like anybody can come in. Just like one of the girls said, if we find drugs, we're going to be mad. Because we're trying to protect not just our ladies, but the community. And it is about watching those kids. And the parking, our goal is, because it's a process, we're not going to start right off with community center going, the coffee shops going. It's a process. And so our goal is to have some parking. On the backside where that grass is, it'll be made some parking space. We figured we could probably put 7 to 8 spaces there. Yeah, we're probably not going to be packed on a daily basis. I hope so.
You're referring to the area on the alley.
On the alley, yes. Because we know it's all street parking. That's what we're told. It's all street parking around in town. So we knew we would have to do something. And so our goal is to use some of that grass space and make parking there just for that reason. And, it's going to be street parking is just like everything else. But again, we're not bringing traffic every day. Not every day. And our girls, they can't have a vehicle until they've been there 1 month before they graduate. We're a 1-year program. But if they decide to stay longer, which we've had a majority of our ladies stay in 13, 14, 15 months. If they stay longer, the month before they graduate, they can have a car. Because we want to make sure they're going where they say they're going. We get them there and we get them there on time. And we take them to work so that they can get there. Because one thing is when I started this, it was a financial burden for anybody to get a vehicle, to be able to buy food, place to live. And these are things that I knew I needed to do when we started this ministry, is to stop the financial burden. So that's why we do the transporting. We take them where they need to go. We help them get their license. We help them get their birth certificate, social security, everything they've lost, we try to help them get back. We help them get an apartment afterwards. If we want them to go transition afterwards. So we are really trying to help. We're not bringing more trouble to your town. And we're not allowing, just to reassure, we're not allowing people to come visit that should not be there. Because we're gonna have locked doors. Nobody can come into our living space at all in the area except from one door without a key. So I am free to talk to anybody at any time, any group. I'll come and see you. Just to clear up some concerns. But I just want to answer some of those questions so that people are a little bit more aware of what we're doing. But we will protect you as much as I would hope you'd protect us.
Thank you. All right. So at this point, I will close the public meeting unless somebody else has anything else they want to put in. We not see anybody on Zoom or in front of me requesting to speak, so I will close the public meeting at 7:53. I want to thank everybody for being civil to one another. So I guess I'll start with our little discussion amongst ourselves. I live at 210 South High Street. My only concerns and questions are going to be about the logistics of owning, operating a coffee house in a residential area, regardless of what goes on in that place. That's how I am looking at it. It doesn't matter if you're making widgets or saving lives, in my opinion. I'm looking at the logistics. My main concern is somewhat, as others, is parking. South High Street, if you don't know, you can only park up to a certain point down it. So all the area beyond the alleyway, continuing down South High Street to get 234, you cannot park on the road. I understand it's been a church for 150 years too as well. However, with the exception of occasional events, churches on Sunday. I've lived on that street long enough to see the church traffic that is on that street at any given time on a Sunday. So some Sundays are a little more important than others, more vehicles than others. Me personally, I go down to 234 and then hike my way up 75. I'm good to go. But if you haven't noticed, downtown's changed a little bit. We got Pizza King, we got Mexican restaurant, we got bakery, we got stuff going on in the Oak Giving Tree. I mean, there's more and more people that seem to be outlet, and I may have noticed this more than others because I live on the street. When the Mexican overflow gets done with your parking lot, they come right down South High Street. And if they don't come down South High Street, they go down Jeff. And I believe logistically Jeff is more narrow than High. And High is pretty thin as it is. The difference with it being a church for 150 years and a coffee shop is that a coffee shop will operate, I would assume, 6 days a week, 5 days a week, maybe even 7 days. Are you ever going to have 20 people lined up waiting on coffee with 20 cars coming out front? If it were me, and I don't know if there's a logistical problem with this that I don't know about, but I would continue to be more apt to put the parking lot in the big grass area that is on South High Street, vice the alley. And I think that for a couple of reasons. My wife here is in attendance, has dealt with deliveries from trucks to the old Dick and Judy's for a long time. There are big vehicles that go down into there. I'm sorry.
You said that you feel better about the parking lot in that green space.
In the grass, like
that's
where the signage is.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Oh, okay, I thought they were talking about the sliver on the alley. Okay, so you're talking about that whole big grass area where the big board used to be, now the boxes.
And you know how large that space is.
If you look at how this is given to us with the drawing, that is not reciprocate that at all. So I'm going off what I was.
That's fair, but that's not.
This area, This area right here is the area I was talking about, Waddington, and then they got this over here, so, okay,
That's what's been talked about.
okay. So with that, I think that could solve a lot of the parking, because you could fit 7 or 8 people in there. 13 is a pretty big area. My next thing though is, and we all able to listen to the town, I'm just gonna, such as, you know, it's a concern, we do have just one police officer. I don't know, I have actually some questions. Mostly concerning, there were 2 people here that were actual, I think it was managers of the facilities and rental here in Thorntown. Can I have your view for a minute up here? We just got a couple questions. Now, when I ask these questions, I know you guys have been in operation for quite some time. To give perspective to it, for traffic and need for medical and or police attention in your worst year of doing this, how many times have you or somebody else that was at the residence had to call for the police? Approximately. If you know the exact number, that's great, but
Not at all, and I've been there almost 2 years
okay.
in Thorntown.
Emergency call visits for medical reasons, unbeknownst to that, you know, somebody unfortunately has something natural happen to them that's different, but you know, say a relapse. How many times have you had an EMS ambulance come to either of your facilities to handle something like that?
Never a relapse at Thorntown, and I believe the ambulance was called twice for an epileptic lady that was in the program.
In Rensselaer. No.
Yeah. On average in both places, on a 24-hour basis, how many vehicles are on property?
For my house,
Yes, please.
one, and that's the van, is the house van.
My car, my assistant's car, and then the house van that transports the lady. So 3.
Okay, those are the only questions I have for you two. Unless if somebody else want to take advantage of it while they're up there.
I do have a question about events that you might host as a community center. Would you be willing to share your event calendar with the community so they can anticipate years?
absolutely, that would be our intention. And plus we figured with it being in the community that we would have people that would come on golf carts, bicycles, walking. And so not a lot of cars. Anything else?
Can I say something about security?
The public meetings.
Okay. Only because I had a women's house that for 8 years.
As I stated in the beginning, this is just one good.
Is that on?
Thank you very much. I'm just concerned with the logistics of operating the facility. What's in it is irrelevant. I do have questions. Where's Mr. Peaks? Where do you go? Up there, can I defend you for a minute? You can say to a hearing. So there was concerns that were brought up by Randy Fenwick, and to be honest with you, I live on the block, I do stuff too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you want the whole story?
I wanted to kind of state that buildings, I've always wanted to go in and see what kind of state.
Absolutely.
And
I would like you to do so. And I would offer that same invitation to anybody. If you'd like to come and see the building, I still own it. I'm happy to show you around.
These have something in writing about the foundation and the structure.
Yes, sir. So can I take?
Jason, I did take a tour of that a year ago when they talked to the RDC. And I never seen the issues that the original engineering firm wanted, other than the fact that it is a typical basement foundation that you find in any of the houses that are along Jefferson Street. It's not a concrete poured, it's block and brick. That was one of the issues that they had. The other issues they thought the floor joist system in there was inadequate. And most of that is because some of the timbers that are in there are old enough that they basically look like live edge. So, that's the issue with some of it. Now, that is only in underneath the sanctuary, which was the area that the engineering firm originally had an issue with, if I'm correct.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
So underneath the other part where the kitchen and the classrooms, that kind of stuff was on the other side, was never in a question. So it was just the sanctuary side. Like I said, all of it had to do with the age of the building and how the building was built at that time. Now, going forward, they will have to have an engineer and all that when they go in and do any remodeling, which again means they have to bring things up to code under the building side. So that's another hurdle they have to go through on this after zoning. But I do have a question for Deborah. We are allowed to rezone this as long as with stipulations, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So if we wanted to make sure that they did put a parking lot in and give the house to the west an easement so they can keep their ramp without anybody in the future being able to take that property back, we can do that, correct?
I'm not sure you can mandate that an easement be granted, but you can request that that discussion take place.
Okay. That's what I wanted to make sure of. That there was a way to lock that in to where the house to the west would not ever have an issue in the future. That's my question on it, was just make sure that we could request that they absolutely have to do off-street parking of their own so that it does not affect. You know, I lived at 56 West Jefferson Street when both churches were active. So, you know, I understand all the parking issues down through there. I do have another suggestion is for the community anyways, is to talk to the owners of the old Christian church down the way that actually has a parking lot there for use of their parking lot. If you have an event going, that would help with some of the on-street parking and stuff like that as well. So that's just a suggestion there. But I mean, those will help with some of the concerns that everybody's bringing up as far as traffic and parking and all that stuff. There are a few things that, you know, I can't wholeheartedly tell a church that they can't sell their building. By not rezoning that to make it more useful for the future, I think we're telling the property owner, well, you got to sit on that building. You can't do anything with it and watch it deteriorate more.
That is correct.
You can't put a apartment building in there, which is what usually happens to most old churches, without it being rezoned. We can't, you know, so the other options under the CF would be a daycare, which is going to bring more traffic in twice a day, way more than what a coffee shop would be, I would assume. The other thing would be a senior care, and basically a community center. So traffic wise, all that's still the same as if we rezone it to downtown mixed use, in my opinion. So no matter what, the traffic, it could be the same, no matter what. And I do not see another church wanting to come in there, because there has been other church buildings in town up for sale that never sold for a church. So, like I said, the rezone for the downtown multi-use is the only logical thing that I see for that building to make it useful.
I agree, Josh, but could we, with the compromise sorts, once it's this doesn't have to be done before it's changed, but before it's opened up to another business, could we not put in something saying that we want the parking lot being done first? That way, the construction traffic that would be there, you have a place to be.
Correct. That's why I was saying is with the stipulations of the parking lot, to me, the parking lot would have to be the first thing that went in before anything would happen on that property. For that simple reason of parking for any type of construction and that kind of thing, so that it doesn't affect the residents as bad.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask a question here, just again, to ensure of events, because they have committed to ensuring that a parking lot is a part of the plan. But to stipulate here, I guess my concern is, was this ever asked of Jamestown UMC to create a parking lot by the town council? Because I think
there have been many times that we have been brought problems and offered the solution for them to be as smoothly as possible. Case in point would be the car lots of town. You know, there are stipulations with by a certain time frame, something needed to be done in order to get approval, and it's one of those they have to acknowledge that. The other thing I also want to put out to you, and this is also out to everybody else, we are an advisory board. We have this much power. We give, I mean, we do tote some weight, okay, but I mean, it's one of those things where we talk with Deb. If nobody's been introduced yet, our town lawyers on the end. I am here too in case there's any serious legal questions. So it's not like we're not taking it serious, even though we're advisory.
Absolutely.
But if we see a problem with something, whereas I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people that have been all about parking and the logistics of the road. So that has to be on my forefront to make sure that is addressed as a priority. Not necessary for you, the seller, but the buyer, if they're going to change it. But there's got to be something there, in my opinion.
I agree. And again, there's been a commitment made. So I guess if you guys are going to put that kind of stipulation on, I would ask that you put a timeline, not a, you can't do this, you can't sell until you do this. Does that make sense?
I would suggest that before improvements start being made to the building, that's when we discuss the parking lot going in, not contingent on.
Changing the zone.
Right.
So wrong time, wrong place, kind of like discussion.
Yes.
Okay.
Were you, just because you started asking, then Josh kind of shared the story. Do you want me to talk about what happened to the building, or is it just irrelevant at this point?
Can you do it in 5 minutes?
Absolutely, yes. I became a pastor of Community Fellowship in the fall of 2023. At that point, the Community Fellowship had been working in their fellowship hall for approximately 2 years, because in 2021 they were told that the sanctuary was unfit to be inside of. They were not allowed to worship in their sanctuary for those 2 years. And again, signed documents by structural engineers, all the things. I inherit this building then as I become pastor in the fall of 2023. I'm the pastor in Jamestown UMC for 8 weeks before we then buy the new building, move up to the Community Fellowship, and now across from GIC. I am 27 years old in my first church. I have no idea what I'm doing. And I called one of my friends who's a structural engineer and asked him, explain the situation, said, okay, basically there's a crack forming in the sanctuary. They've been told it's unfit. What are my options here that don't cost 6 figures? Because that was what they've been quoted to fix the problems. My friend said, well, let me come down and take a look, because sometimes what happens in buildings like these is Susan, I'm going to just use your name as an example. Susie comes and tells the pastor there's a crack in the floor, then the pastor tells Carol that there's a crack in the floor, and then by the time the entire congregation hears about it, it's not a crack in the floor, it's a giant gaping hole that's swallowing 3 people along. So it's important to make sure there are second opinions and everybody's looked at it. Jeremy came down, took a look at things, crawled into the building, saw. I did not sugarcoat it. I wouldn't sugarcoat it with you if you came and looked. I'm not the salesman for this building. I was very honest about where everything is, what the issues are. And he said, Ben, I see absolutely no reason why anyone should feel unsafe in this set of building. And of course, a little shell shocked in that moment, I asked him, okay, explain this, because, what we've been told. So what happened? He said, I know the engineering firm that came and gave them the quote in 2021. They work with predominantly newer builds. They understand code as of 2021. That's the things that they're looking at things through. But there is a difference between something being up to code and something being safe. This is a safe building. It is not an up to code building. And Jeremy says this from the context of somebody that works predominantly with Taylor Church.
Now, remember exactly what a $2 ownership.
I mean, it was the concept organization.
Ready for a big can of worms?
We are.
I've been in the remodeling business for 17 years. Maybe something. Right. I've got enough for you. Let's stay, have something for you.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, open it up to other members. Speak your mind. Lori, Josh, you as well.
I'm good. I've said what I had on my mind.
Main thing I see is they was having that parking problem for years. I mean, I lived here 30 years and it's had a parking. Place it up. I know people don't even have driveways. They put curbs in on 75 down by my house, and people that never had a driveway had to put one in because they couldn't park out no more.
How do you feel about putting a timeline on the parking?
I don't have a problem with that. We did it for another business, so I don't see why they're in.
Ben?
Just from my personal standpoint, as a member of the planning commission, put in front of me, do we want to change zoning from community facility to downtown mixed use? That's the decision I have to, that's where I need to make my decision. As far as what goes in there, it could be these guys, or it could be, whatever. That makes no difference to me at this point. He's not determining, is it justifiable to change it from community facility to downtown mixed use? I see no problem with changing the zoning. I would rather change the zoning and give them or a future business or whatever it may be the opportunity rather than having an empty building sitting on it. But that's just my personal take on it. Well, what goes into it, that's, would be another discussion. As far as the zoning goes, I think, it's a building sitting basically in the middle of town that probably needs to have something done with it. And that's just kind of how I'm looking at it.
I think the fact that it is a church, or it has been a church for over 100 years, and a organization of Christians wants to come in here and help people, I think that's a good thing. And the zoning sounds correct, as we were discussing it.
Ben said everything I was gonna say.
All right, since we have two members that are on Zoom, I'll go ahead and do this vote by name. We will start with Lori and Josh, whichever one of those wants to go for it. Well, actually, no, we've got a motion. Let's talk about the motion first. I assume with everything else that we are going to.
Jason, you have.
Yes,
It's brought to my attention that the drawing you have for the parking that we would like to do, it needs to be extended.
Yes, all that just get talked about with the lady up front. It got clarified for me, got clarified for them.
Okay.
That's good enough for the record second as far as drawings, details and all that out. So. I'm in favor. Okay, do we want to throw in the parking lot as a contingency thing? Once the ownership takes it over and then in the first year.
Who's making the motion?
Yeah, the precedent. Well, we gotta make sure the motion sounds right, so.
I think, what if we give the carving here a year?
I believe so.
I have no issue with it here. That's a lot going on. If no matter what business would go in there, I think that would probably be a stipulation of, from here on, whatever, other than church, So I think
And I will make a motion to move this forward if we continue to see the point for the.
So you're gonna require a commitment from developers that they'll put a parking lot in.
Is that okay?
Then I mean, they've done it orally.
Right. It's just, I feel comfortable with something annotated in there somehow, but that is a of things that need to do once the property gets transitioned into operating business.
Yeah, so everyone's good for a year. I'll make the motion to approve property at 42 South High Street to be zoned from community facility to downtown mixed use in the, with a stipulation added that no matter what business goes into the property would have a sufficient parking lot built within a year of taking said property.
I'll second that.
All in favor, we'll go by name. Josh, go ahead and start.
I vote aye.
Lori.
You have to say your name.
Hawkins votes aye.
Lori Houston votes aye.
Katie Duncan, aye.
Sharon Spears, aye.
Jason Leibowitz, aye.
Carol Lee, aye.
Ben Stokes, aye. All right, it moves on. There is one thing that I was asked to read real quick. I should not, what was in my mouth, but just, it's on my checklist of things to do, and it'll upset me if I don't. The staff recommendation report, they offered a favorable recommendation, which we just passed it. So yeah, we just passed this, there's really no reason, for it. Let's Lori jump on here and tell us the issue.
What'd you say, Jason?
I totally skipped over the staff recommendation report, but we just passed it, so I think we're.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, I was going on a little checklist. All right, so, it's moved along and. Yeah, that's pretty much.
Jason, could you,
Yeah, go ahead.
just, we approved the zone, well, we approved, recommended the zone to be changed. For everybody that has concerns,
Yeah.
it'll move to the next step, which would be the town council.
Which the meeting's next Tuesday.
That's where all your concerns, your positives, your
They're
negatives,
the ones with.
that's the one that you're going to, you'll have the opportunity to express those concerns.
Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for being respectful of everybody's various points of view, corrections, complaints, testimonies. Is there any new business to hear from the floor? Any announcements? Cookie?
I move we adjourn this meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Vince in the meeting. In the meeting. Push end.